Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a great conversation with our partners at Fitstop. I have the pleasure now of a conversation with Al Myers, CEO of Asia Pacific for Fitstop, and they've had an incredible roller coaster journey over the past couple of years, but the roller coaster is only going one way, up. Welcome, Al. How are things? Can you give us a brief introduction into Fitstop, please?
Yeah, Ross, great to be here. So appreciate the time. Always great catching up with you as well. So I suppose probably to start with, just for people's understanding, Fitstop is a functional boutique franchise network, which has been based out of here in Australia itself as well. A lot of, say ourselves with our programming, it's athlete inspired. So really focusing on that S&C component to really maximize our results through our training philosophy as well. And I think our aim realistically is to provide a personalised experience in a group environment is what we're chasing, which becomes really community focused from a brand perspective as well.
Fantastic. Now, the last couple of years haven't been easy for many companies, but you've managed to grow the business continuously over those 2 years. Talk us through those 2 years and some of the milestones that you've hit out.
Yeah, I think probably, Ross, for a lot of what Pete and I had focused on, it's how do we actually build out a business based on process and system to really start to drive performance and create a world-class business without the ego. So everything which we're focused on in that investment over that last 2 or 3 years is putting us in that position to achieve some of the milestones over the last 2 years as well. So the team's super proud to be able to open 50 locations over that last 18 months, which has been an incredible journey, you know, to build the business to up over 22,000 members collectively from the locations itself as well has been instrumental to support part of that growth, but also now from a billing perspective to be able to gross revenue over $2 million per month across the network has been outstanding as well. And you know, I think for us a big focus and celebration has been able to build that system and process to be able to support not only the scalability in Australia and New Zealand, but also to secure US expansion and also Singapore over the last few months as well, which has been great. Pete's super excited about securing a lease in US as well. So he's got himself an activation space and office over there as well. And he's started to build out the team in US to start that expansion as well, which is incredibly exciting.
So club growth, member growth, revenue growth. I mean, that's pretty incredible, Al. Another big headline to hit over the last couple of years was the announcement of a strategic partnership with yourself and Lift Brands. Very, very exciting. Talk us through that partnership and what kind of benefits does it bring both parties?
Yeah, it's a great relationship. I mean, Ross, you know Chris Caldwell really well. He's a quality human being who, you know, I embrace his knowledge and his experience as well. So he had significant value to us from a business perspective as well. But I think also in relation to that partnership as well, it's been able to, you know, share ideas and have that collaborative environment between different brands as well. But also looked at opportunities to expand our brand through their network and their business owners as well, which has been you know, a big part of our focus since they invested, say, some 18 months ago as well. But also to support that international piece as well, like, you know, a lot of the, say, rules and regulations and legalities into US are very different to here in Australia and New Zealand as well. So to be able to actually utilize their global team to support part of that expansion has added great value to us as well. So, you know, we're excited about that relationship. You know, I love the fact that it's a collaborative and connected environment, which is really cool from my point of view.
Yeah, Chris and the team are fantastic and look forward to seeing where this relationship takes you both. Al, you mentioned it earlier, you're on to the US, and congratulations to you and Pete and Nadeem for doing that. It seems to be the holy grail of boutique franchises to try and get into that market, the depth, the maturity. What are your thoughts on the future of the US?
Yeah, look, it's exciting for us, but I love your terminology, the holy grail. There's a great song, which we all know of as well. So everything which Pete and I kind of spoke about a few years ago was how do you create, say, sustainability and longevity, and to be able to actually grow a franchise network where you can scale it, not only for Australian expansion, but then also to be able to step offshore into New Zealand. But that sets us up for what needs to be the success into US as well. And I think, you know, US is probably us dipping our toe into the waters there as well. Like, we're super excited what we've built out through the Fitstop Academy to make sure that we're in a business to not only induct business owners, say, internationally, but then also new team members. So not only do they do the face-to-face induction back here in Australia to understand the real brand and culture of what we've created, and and what I think we own from a community perspective as well in that functional space as well, but gives them the opportunity to be able to replicate that and then to be able to scale in whether it's the US and ideally future expansion into Asia and UK as well.
Yeah, you touched on two words there, culture and community. Let me pull on that string a little bit more, because it seems to be that those are two key pillars of Fitstop. If I was to go and ask some of your franchisees, for example, what do you think the feedback would be from them? Why is the Fitstop presence so strong in their mind?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it was kind of community to me. Like when I probably first transitioned from retail fitness into boutique and I was going through an interview process with Pete, there was all this talk about community. And I said, look, Pete, I'm just going to challenge because I feel that the fitness industry just uses community as a buzzword. You know, for us as a brand, how do we create that authenticity, which is through connection, which really gives you the right to own that community? And probably that first 6 months of that transition into Fitstop, I really understood the difference and how community resonates out of the brand as well. And that's from support, not only from business owners, but the passion of the head office team to actually have a positive impact, not only for business owners, but for managers and our members itself as well. So there's probably a little bit of, say, in Pete's terminology, it was one of the probably founding values for Fitstop. It was the GFF, which is kind of that give a fuck factor. Excuse the language, Ross. So, but authenticity through connection and trust and relationships. So actually caring about our business owners, understanding their stakeholders in what is, you know, their investment, but then also creating those solid returns on investment for them as well. And I think probably to answer your question, Ross, we actually utilize the Franchise Relationship Institute. So we do anonymous surveys for our business owners every 12 months. You know, we've probably set a standard in relation to that. Like the last 2 years, we've had 100% of locations and business owners provide their survey responses, which is incredible. So it's something which, you know, is probably abnormal when it comes into, you know, chasing feedback and surveys, but we kind of have that mindset around that listen, learn, improve, repeat. So how do we actually take on board that feedback to be better? And in our terminology, probably more of that athlete mindset around marginal gains and being 1% better from a business point of view, time after time as well. And, you know, from our most recent surveys, you know, our NPS score was plus 43, which is exceptional, not only in franchising, but then also in the fitness industry and franchising space as well. Like we probably benchmark more into the franchising sector rather than the fitness industry sector, because the fitness industry is, you know, probably a little bit lower than what it is on an average from a franchising perspective as well. And, you know, for us, part of that, say, ACE index as part of the survey as well, you know, we sit at 74, which is, you know, the benchmark itself being 68. So the feedback from surveys, you know, probably sets that standard, which collectively from a group is the connection piece. So, you know, that authenticity that we want to give and deliver the best product which we can from a franchise network's perspective as well.
Yeah, I love the GFF. That's something I'm definitely going to steal from you. And
it's not bad, is it?
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. Look, let's look at franchisees and master franchisees, because, of course, they're on the hunt for you. You're on the hunt for them. And I suppose longevity and getting that right click is so important to making sure they're so successful. But are there certain things that you're looking for in your franchisees and your master franchisees going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I'll probably just pre-frame that question. In franchising, I think, as a brand, you've got to have confidence to say no in circumstances as well, because in some situations, hey, you might have the person who's, you know, got the finance or commercial acumen, but, you know, their values proposition doesn't support that of, say, the community or the brand in those circumstances. So in some situations, we talk about, say, scaling with the mindset of go slow to go fast as well, because we want to make sure that they go through that operational and financial approval process itself as well. I think ultimately for us, Ross, it's how do you have like-minded people who are passionate about getting more people moving and having a positive impact in more people's lives as well. And I think, you know, a lot of, say, what we've shifted, and I know the industry has as well, around that health and wellness. And there's a lot more than training to look good. It's that mindset piece and mindfulness and so forth as well. So, you know, for us, how do we get people who are passionate about having that impact in their local community? So it's not based on the return on investment, because the return, you know, is exceptionally solid and they can create great opportunities from a financial piece as well. But how do we get that mindset that we're passionate about what we want to deliver, but passionate about a positive impact into their local community through health and wellness and getting more people to move more, to live more as well.
Yeah, so obviously you've grown successfully in the last couple of years. I don't see that growth slowing down, Al, at all. You're going to have growing pains, and you're going to have to invest in making sure the system and the process is even better than ever before. Where are you investing in terms of capital, people, time, resources to make sure your offering stays as strong?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because it's probably something which has always excited me about the Fitstop piece, is that the board is more willing to invest early back into the business as well, which, really creates it easy for us in senior roles to maximize what you want to do from a growth point of view as well. So, outside of resourcing, probably our three fundamental investments is we have our own tech ecosystem, so which is all our own, software and apps and so forth as well, which is Fitstop Tech. So that will continue to be a significant investment. It's been a substantial investment over the last, say, 3 or 4 years as well, but that will continue to progress as well, because everything around that focus is how to improve the member experience itself as well. And ideally, how do you get in a position in the future that you can kind of guarantee results as well from a member's perspective as well? That's the work in progress. That becomes the dream and the bucket list of what we want to achieve itself as well. And probably a passionate project of mine is I'm very big on, how do you have that positive impact on people's lives through coaching and education, and even sharing your own story. So we really have a training and education philosophy. So it's the investment into the Fitstop Academy through the LMS software itself, but then also externals to not only build out, say, our anchored learning approach, but to evolve and create greater humans through training education. So how do we build out that from a stage one perspective? And then what does that look like into the future? So we can go from, hey, what are the foundations or brilliant basics for operating a Fitstop? But how do you start to create that leadership and performance mindset and mindfulness for people, so they actually have not only a professional, but also balance the life into their personal life and so forth as well. And similar to what you said around CRM as well, like, we're only in probably the infinite stages around our CRM and the investment there as well, around that platform and how that can cater and support, our members and our business owners moving forward as well. So we've only just implemented that over probably the last 6 to 9 months, but really looking forward to, what that can deliver to us from a, improved return on investment into next calendar year as well.
You've achieved so much, Al, in the past couple of years, from people to technology to growth, revenue, membership. But reflecting on the last couple of years, what are you most proud of?
Yeah, it's probably a tough one for me, Ross, because I think the team has achieved so much in that period of time. I think, probably some of my key highlights, it's probably some of the experiences you've seen, say, some of the internal head office team and what they've achieved and how they've celebrated and how it's had a positive impact into their life and their professional careers and that progression itself. I think also to be able to see, like, we've got quite a few, say, business owners who have kind of either become member into business owner, or in some situations member into trainer, into manager, into business owner as well, and to watch them go on that journey and to see their highlights and celebrations, even to the fact that to one of those who've just recently sold their first business, so multi-site owner as well, and to go from trainer, manager into business owner, multi-site, and then to get a substantial exit as well, to enable them to live a better life as well is such a positive impact. And I think probably similar to one of the previous questions as well, just to be able to put ourselves in a position to open more locations where we're having more impact on our communities. And, similar to, everyone with everything that you do, Ross and Blair, with the Fit Summit and, what AusActive's doing in Australia, how do we have that mindset to get more people moving? Because we know that they're going to, move more to live more as well, which is kind of our philosophy in Fitstop itself as well. There's a lot of celebrations probably through the milestones, but, they're probably not the reason why, myself and Pete do it. So to see people go on that journey and, set themselves up to put themselves in a position, which is stronger from a financial point of view or from a personal or professional, that's probably my key highlight. And to see that development from a head office team and as they progress through that journey, it's probably what lights me up, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's a great driver. I mean, we talk always as an industry about how we can make sure our members have better health, wellness and happiness. But the reality is it starts at home, it starts in your office, it starts with your team. And so if you can somehow manage to carve that nugget out where you can see development across your team, there's nothing better, I think, personally. So I'm right on board with that, Al. Last question, 24 months from now, let's get the crystal ball out. And I'm not going to predict too much, but what does success look like to you and the team? Where do you want to be in 24 months' time?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest one outside of, say, additional milestones as we start to progress from a growth perspective and, further international expansion as well. I think it's probably being that trusted brand within fitness and franchising, because I think in some situations, there's brands which grow with the mindset of an exit strategy. For us, it's about probably being authentic and building out our network to create longevity and sustainability itself as well. So, we'll continue to invest heavily in the process and system point of view, that training education to develop out the network to ensure that sustainability and return for business owners itself as well. I think, that progression from a head office perspective, like how do you create a championship winning team? And that championship winning team's without an ego, but based on outputs as well. So how do you actually start to create that success and continue to be a process-led business itself as well? Probably similar to what I said, it's my passion project is that training education, because if we can, create better humans, and, it's probably one of my big passion plays itself as well. And I think you'll see, not only the consistent progression from a national point of view in Australia, I'm excited to get into even the first quarter of next year. We'll open 4 locations in New Zealand itself. We'll start to open our first location into Singapore as well, which will start to create a lot more brand awareness. And I think we'll have a solid footprint within the US portfolio, both within the West Coast and I think also East Coast expansion there. And I'd like to think that we've got our first location out of the ground in UK by that time as well, Ross, to be quite honest, in the next 2 years as well. We've built the systems to be able to scale it. It's now trying to maximize on what has been that time invested, but then also the financial investment over the last 3 years to be able to put us in this position to create that scalability and ensure success, if that makes sense as well.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never heard of Fitstop before, you certainly do now, and you certainly will next year. Watch for them coming. They're coming to a shore near you. Al, on behalf of everyone at Fit Summit, thanks for your continued support. I mean, what you and Pete and the team have built is really inspirational and aspirational for everyone involved. And we wish you all the very best. We'll have your contact details below here, ladies and gents, if you want to contact Al and the team for any opportunities to do with franchising and any opportunities just to try and get some more information from them. But Al, for now, look forward to seeing you face to face very early on in the new year. And thanks again for today, pal.
Ross, always great to share some time with you. So greatly appreciated from my side.
Fitstop is the home of functional fitness. What made me fall in love with Fitstop was the athletic approach to training, the power, the strength, and the conditioning.
It's all about giving it your all, committing 100% and effectively stopping at nothing.
When I first went to it, it was like I had barbell strength work. It was all focused around team. I just loved it.